folks, welcome back to On Texas Football, and welcome back to the Winning Drive, the prime time edition. And we have, of course, a national champion, lifetime Longhorn joining us, my man Marcus Myers. Always happy to have him. I got to tell you, just a fantastic addition to the team, I've been told by everybody. But of course, one of the most valuable members of the team. He is our coach, former high school football coach at Vernon, Capel, Brownwood, Belton, Rotan. Also played college football at Abilene Christian, coached there as well. Was on the staff at the University of Texas for multiple head football coaches. And these days, you can catch his work at ShipleyRanch.com. He's also I would say unofficially a very talented songwriter. Just gonna throw that out. Okay. And Marcus don't know about this, Coach.
I haven't heard this. I need to sell a couple of ranches so I can get some demos out there. So.
All right. See, Marcus in the family now, Coach. You might have to send him one of your songs. I might still have them. I might send Marcus a couple. You send me some.
Yeah, I need to check that out, Coach.
I'm telling you,
I got a new one coming out every week or two, it seems like.
Boom. See, people think I'm just making stuff up when I talk about Coach and Coach. No, man. Coach has accomplished a lot in his life. I
haven't accomplished a lot. I've done a lot. There's a difference.
That is good. You sound like an old ball coach. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Where you're joining us from, really appreciate it. We will talk, of course, a lot of Texas, Florida. The show belongs to you, though. It's a show of the people, for the people, and by the people. So questions, comments, throw them out there. We'll try to address as many of them as we can. Super chats always jump to the front of the line, so you can interrupt the show at any time and talk about whatever you want to talk about. You want to talk about Thursday Night Football, 49ers, Rams? We can get into that a little bit. As a matter of fact, I'm not watching it now. I want to get distracted, but I am like a lot of Longhorns, kind of a quasi 49ers fan, just because my man Shano and you got Alfred Collins there, so you got some Longhorn connections. Okay, let's start, guys. And we'll get into the weather. I know some people want to talk about the weather in the game. We know that can be a big factor. We'll get into that too. Vegas, some strange happenings in Vegas with the wise guys, as it relates to this Texas-Florida game. We got to discuss that too. But let's talk about the availability report, injury report, whatever it's described as. But they update it every day. So here's the latest for the Thursday report for Texas. Now there is a difference from yesterday. Yesterday, under questionable, now you see it's just Malik Muhammad questionable. CJ Baxter, he was doubtful yesterday and still doubtful. But the questionable changes are, looks like Emmett Mosley and also Trey Wisner have been moved from questionable to probable.
Black too. Black got upgraded as well.
Kobe Black as well. Yes, right. Thank you very much, Kobe Black. Yep. So that's a good thing. Now, crazy thing about it, yesterday, Malik Muhammad was probable, and now it's questionable.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't right. That ain't the way you want to be moving.
I wonder what gauge they use for that. I mean, what's the difference? If you're on probable, questionable, or doubtful, you could play. There's no law against playing somebody that's on the doubtful list, is there?
No. I think it just boils into how many snaps you think you can get them.
Why be so forthcoming?
So Coach, you would not be very frank and open with these reports. You leave it vague.
I'd have questionable, doubtful on everybody.
Lane Kiffin's like that.
Lane Kiffin did it last year, yeah.
Lane Kiffin's
did he really?
That. Yeah, Bill Belichick famously in the NFL was one of those guys. He was like, I'll just put it, because all my guys are hurt. All my guys got something. So I'll just put everybody on there, and then
That's what I was saying right before we got on. It's interesting. Florida just only has guys listed that are out. There's no way you could tell me they don't have some cats that are banged up.
That's true. Florida. I think that's a mindset thing about where they are in the season, because this is Napier's last stand, and I think there's a mindset on that team. If you in or out on this thing, because they might be losing.
That's probably right.
They might be losing guys already. Yeah.
Good job, Alan. I like that.
Wow. There you go. Nice one. Yeah.
That's keeper right there.
You see it, but that's what it is, guys. I think it's Billy Napier's kind of last stand. There are some Florida fans actually hoping Texas puts an Old Testament, old biblical style butt whipping on Florida so that they can finally put, Billy Napier out of his misery, I guess, if you want to use that term. But that's interesting. And what else about the injury report, availability report, guys? And we'll get into Florida side too, because actually some of those guys who are out for them, they are those are very impactful players for him.
Sure.
Potentially could have been an impactful player for him. But let's talk about this injury report a little bit more here. What about Emmett Mosley, guys? It looks like Emmett Mosley, it could happen.
Ready to make his debut?
We could. I mean, we've been talking about him, I feel like, for months, forever. Yeah. And now we may finally get out. Sark was asked about Emmett Mosley as well, and he said, quote, now it really gives you that third receiver that has length to him and a guy with experience. Those three guys with Wingo and Livingston give you a little something different. And we're starting to formulate that group we have. That's interesting to say that, because someone, I think it was Jeff Howard that asked him, was it intentional that now your receivers are just bigger? Like, you're gonna look at when Sark first got here, his receivers they didn't have that much time. Remember, Tom Herman loved big receivers. Yeah. Like, even more so, I think he valued that over speed, like length and size and height. He had those big receivers, and they were great for his system. Right. Sark values a different kind of receiver. We know speed is a big part of what Sark looks at in evaluations, but it's noticeable and obvious that the receivers now they're bringing in via the recruiting class are just bigger guys. And I think that's intentional. And to me, this is maybe another, I don't know, kind of clue that it is intentional, that for a lot of reasons. Now, we want our receivers a little bit bigger. We still like the speed, but we need them to be a little bit bigger. And
hey, man, you keep them big guys. Give me Xavier Worthies. That's what I want.
Real, I mean, I don't think Sark's turning down Xavier Worthies now. I'm just saying I think he is prioritizing bigger wideouts. That's good. We talked about that even in the offseason. And I think
especially if he really does get a chance to come back. Sark has talked quite a bit about him being a really good blocker on the outside, something that we could certainly use, whether it's, you're trying to work some kind of short passing screen type game, or just you find yourself run the ball more because of the weather. So could be a shot in the arm for the offense either way.
He did say today, to your point, Marcus, that perimeter blocking was something they worked on quite a bit during the bye week, because they believe that's one of the reasons they haven't broken that big run with the running backs yet, that big explosive run, because they need, you need guys to hold their blocks on the outside. All right, let's get to Super Chat. We got a Super Chat. I always say you can interrupt the show at any time. Let's get to the Super Chat. Then we'll get back to the availability report. I got the Trey Weiser news. I think is really good for them too. But Juan wants to know tell me Malik is a game time decision. That tells me Malik is a game time decision. The fact that he went from probable now back to questionable. Yeah, and you know what? He's a vet. I mean, so I imagine one of those guys, coach, that even if he misses some practice time, there is still faith and trust that he could be ready even without with a young guy. I imagine that's more of a concern. Like, they need practice time. They need those practice reps. With Malik Muhammad, veteran guy, been in the system a long time, a lot of starts under his belt. Maybe there's trust that if he didn't get a lot of practice time in, that he still could go out there and play at a high level.
I'm wondering if maybe they kind of wait and see how the flow of the game goes. Ooh. And if they see that, I mean, they'd rather keep him in the hip pocket for OU game, but do you think they could possibly be testing the waters with him to see, can we beat Florida without him? Just like, can we beat Florida without CJ Baxter? Because if we can, now we're really going loaded into OU. I'm wondering, if you just say let's see if we can hold him out. If it gets to the game where we got to have him to win the game, he's good to go. We just don't want to take a chance. I wonder if that goes into their thought process. It would for me, because all those guys that were updated on the good to go list are all guys. Kobe Black and Travion Wisner. All those guys could and will help us win the game. Emmett Mosley, Xavier. I mean, those are all impact players, in my opinion. Kobe Black, maybe not as much because we're so deep in the secondary, but it's what it sounds like with Emmett Mosley and the lack of explosiveness sometimes we see in our receiver group. Of course, Trey Wisner is going to be a huge addition if we get him back. And of course, Xavier he's been money too. So I think all four of those guys that we have listed as probable. I mean, the two guys on top of that list are probably the two we need the most. But it's not like we have other guys that can't go. But I'm really glad to see those guys on the probable list.
Yeah. It's I don't. Do we know what it is with Manny? Because I mean, it very well could be just he's under the weather a little bit. They're trying to give him some. Like you said, Coach, I'd be interested like how they're qualifying this stuff. Is it based on how much they practiced today, or what the game plan is for him? I don't know if we know what his injury is, but I don't know.
No, I'm serious. If it ain't serious, obviously we don't know. Doesn't seem that way because he played, last game and hadn't heard much. So whatever it is, like I said, he's kind of going back and forth on that availability report. I love what Coach said though about, hey, if we need him, we could use him. Remember what game was that? What Jade? Was it U of H? Remember Jade was like out for the game and then they brought him in.
Kind of later in the game when they needed.
He was literally like, I think he was out in the first half, and then I think U of A started gouging that secondary. Like, you got to put him back. I think we need him. Or maybe it was him that went out there and was, we know he got that dog in him. It was like, Coach, I'm going in. I'm good. I'm good. I'm ready to go. All right, y'all cleared me, but y'all said it was just caution. It was just out of caution. Y'all didn't want me to play a precautionary measure. But I'm good. I'm going. I'm playing.
Yeah, I'm going to caution you that if I don't get in this game, we may not win.
And Sark would have been like, yeah, you're damn right. Put him in there. Yeah. I can't lose to U of H. Put him in there. And I believe it was a U of H game, if I'm not mistaken. But like I said, I could be off there. CTE could have kicked in, whatever. But it was a game where Jade was out, and then they put him in, and we ended up winning the game. He said, it's the U of H game. Yeah, CB. And he actually made the play. I believe he made like the game-winning play. Like, he was involved in it. So anyway, my point is that I like what Coach said, especially the weather, which we'll get to, is if it's going to basically limit the passing game anyway. Hell, why would we need why would we go out there and let my best, corner get injured because of that? No, we good. My young bucks may be able to handle that. And considering, we'll talk about this, the ineptitude lately of the passing game overall for Florida, period.
Right.
Which we can talk about. So maybe, Coach, I like that. I like that suggestion. Matter of fact, I think they should do what you just suggest. That's why you the coach. That's money right there. All right. The other one on here that's interesting. I never thought CJ Baxter was going to be able to go, but I've been saying that at the beginning of the week. I just don't. Mm-hmm. I don't think they want to risk
on the wet track.
Yeah. They just like, nope, CJ's out. The Trey Wisner thing, I've been feeling good about Trey Wisner. So I think I can't wait to see him in Mosley. Kobe Black is interesting because if you don't have Malik Muhammad, and here's Salty Q, does Phillips step up if Black is limited? You got to do something. I mean, yeah, good point. K, do you move Grayson Littleton out there and you got another and play just 3 safeties? Go with your big nickel package and move.
It also depends on Rod. What is Florida's offense from what you've seen? Like, what do they deploy most? Because it makes me wonder if it's going to be a rainy game. They've had issues potentially with their O-line. Like, do they try to do a poor man's version of Ohio State and run a lot of 12?
They actually are very versatile. They run 10, 11, 12.
So they'll spread 21. It out. Gotcha.
Yeah, they're going to run a lot of different things. The concepts that are most successful for them, I would basically went and looked at like their big explosive plays. They don't have a lot of them. And where they got their chunk yardage plays from, they love zone running. I mean, they're going to run zone, inside zone, outside zone, 80+% of the time. Outside zone is about 10.9% of their plays, about 13% of their yards. The inside zone read the inside zone game to me, it's not that successful. I think they do it just to have balance in the run game, but the inside zone and inside zone read accounts for about 14% of their plays, but about a little over 12% of their yards. So to me, I want my percentage of yards for my favorite concepts to, be a higher percentage than at least the percentage of plays that I'm running it. But different discussion for a different day. But in the passing game, they love the flood concepts. Flood concepts are about 9% of their plays, a little over that, and almost 14% of their yards. So they love flood concepts. A lot of their big plays come off of those. They love screens. Texas should be really wary. Screens are about 6.5% of their yards and 21% of their explosive plays of 10 or 20 yards. They're actually really good at running screens. And that's good because DJ Lagway ain't pushing the ball downfield anyway. So a lot of times those flood concepts, he's taking the short option anyway, and screens are just behind the line of scrimmage though. So he's not doing a lot of damage down the field, guys. He's only got one completion of 20 yards or more on the season, and that was in the first game versus Long Island. He got 0 since then. Yeah. So he's not, to me, the offense, they simplified it because he can't push the ball downfield successfully. Could he break out of that versus Texas? You damn well he could. But they only got 7 deep throws on the season. He's dead last in all of college football, like 161st. I'm not making this up. If you look at deep ball rate, he's like at 5%. Dead last, guys. Nobody throws the ball, all right, less downfield, 20-plus yards than DJ Lagway. Get that through your head. And last year, he was top 10 deep ball passers in the country. Like, that's a cycle. Something's going on. That's a curious case of DJ Lagway. I don't know what it is. If I'm a Florida fan, I'd be scared as hell. They got third world problems at quarterback. Texas got first world problems. Still got problems, but they first world. He's got third world issues. I don't know what's going on with Lagway. All right.
Yeah, he's struggling.
He's struggling, man. Anyway.
Just hope he doesn't find himself this week.
That's what I'm saying. I
want the young man to have a great career next week.
Next week. Yeah. Starting next week.
Yeah. He's a good player. You know it's in him. We saw it last year. It ain't like he's a bad player, but he's playing the position badly right now. Yeah. All right. Let's take a sponsor. Thank our friends over at Von Lane before we move on. We got some questions. We'll get to those. And I want to talk about what's happening in Vegas. What does Vegas see with this game? We'll talk about that. But thank you to our friends over at Von Lane. Really appreciate them being part of the On Texas football family. This fall, you've got places to be. Texas football at DKR, the Red River Rivalry in Dallas, NFL Sundays in Houston and Dallas, plus ACL Fest and Austin, F1 races. Oh, man, there's so much going on. Why waste hours at the airport or stuck behind the wheel, all right, driving round trip? No, with Von Lane, you just walk into a hotel terminal, check in within minutes, and you're on board. No TSA, no hassle. Settle into one of just 22 oversized first-class seats. Stretch out, recline, and enjoy the complimentary Wi-Fi, snacks, and drinks. If you want a beer or cocktail, that's easy. They got you covered. And travel is open right now through December. So book today for game days, concerts, or even Thanksgiving and Christmas trips. Visit vonlane.com. That's VONLANE.com. And use the code OTF25 to save $20 on your first ride with Von Lane. Von Lane, private jet on wheels. Thank you very much to our friends over at Von Lane. All right, let's get to Super Chat here. This actually is a perfect segue. Thank you very much, Andrew. Just keeping the show on track. Says, why did the line move from 7.5, Texas favored by 7.5 to 4.5 in 3 hours today? Drastic shift. Yeah, I saw it. I believe, and this is in addition to the line actually moving, there's also been aggressive movement for the under.
The under makes sense.
Yeah, this week the total has been, it basically is free fall. It opened at 46.5, quickly dropped to 42. Now somewhere it's appearing even at 41.5, I believe. You could have grabbed it. Some people said a couple of weeks ago at 52.5 for the total for this matchup. And as you say, my man CJ put out here, DraftKings has the line dropped to a 4.5 point favorite for Texas, and it started at 7.5. It's got to be weather. The weather.
It's probably a handful of big bets. I think I saw somebody in the chat too say Josh Pate picked Florida to win outright. So he has a pretty decent sized audience. You may have, the public that's just following what they hear a talking head see kind of thing. But that's a pretty big swing in a short amount of time.
Huge swing. I mean, I don't do a lot of betting, but I know that's a giant.
Makes
swing.
you wonder if Josh Pate put a bet on a certain team. Now that he's got the line down where he wants it.
Wow.
Move it a little bit and take the yeah.
Well, that actually is brilliant. If you do got the clout to do it, I don't know if that's illegal or what, but I don't know. That's nice.
Well, apparently it's not illegal for our folks in Washington to inside trade stock. So apparently, you can put a rumor out there about a stock's going to drop, so you can buy it.
That's true. That's a good point, though. I love it. All right. So apparently, also, if you look at the forecast for that time, at 2:30, obviously Central Standard Time for our time on Saturday, 83 degrees. There is over a 55% chance of rain, and the wind may be the big issue.
Yeah,
they say the wind is supposed to be up to like between 25 to 30 miles per hour, gusts of 25 to 30 miles per hour. That's crazy. So that would definitely limit the passing game if there's wind like that. But you do got two quarterbacks. They got strong arms. Did I hear Sark say today that they work with wet footballs every
he said week? every week. He said it's not something they wait till week of, that it's something that they do regularly to kind of, make sure they're accounting for all the conditions. So I sure hope that that's true, because it sounds like it's going to be an ugly game, at least from a weather standpoint. So you want to make sure it's not their first, go at it. Coach, did y'all used to soak footballs or anything like that?
We didn't soak them. We just dumped a bucket of water on them right before the center snapped it sometimes.
Yeah.
Just to make them deal with it,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I had a crazy college coach. Oh man, he would do that. He was one of my favorite people I've ever been around. But he was so funny. He'd bring the bucket out there right before they're going to snap the ball, and he'd just dump it on everybody around the football, and he would say, "It might be raining Saturday." By the time we got through laughing, we'd have a manager slip in there and drop the ball.
That's nice. I like it. No, you got to have the mindset. You got to be
you do.
Cool with being
Well, here's the deal. Not only that, but you have to practice in the rain. If you don't have thunderstorms in the area, don't go in the indoor facility. You need some practice in the rain, because it's just different. It's different how you throw the ball. It's different how you catch the ball. It's different how you carry the ball.
Mm-hmm.
More emphasis defensively on punching the ball out or ripping the ball out, because it's a little more slippery. I just think those are things that we always practice in the rain. As long as there was no lightning, we would practice in the rain, unless it was just, coming down 3 inches an hour or something. And you just, couldn't get anything done. But if it was wet, we'd go outside and practice in that rain, because you can't control the weather. Don't forget, timeout. There's some rain coming down. We can't play tonight. No, you're going to play the game, and you better be ready to play.
Yeah.
Something to think about now. You just brought it up, Coach. I'm hoping it's not the case, and I hope me bringing it up, because I hadn't heard anybody talk about it. I'm going to knock on wood so it doesn't happen, because we do in-game live watch. This would be disastrous for us. Weather delays.
Oh man. Yeah.
I should have said it, huh? Damn.
Yeah, you shouldn't have done that.
Hey, it's no problem, Rod. I got lots of stories.
Just right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I can have my guitar.
You can feel time.
It's all good.
Matthew's right now talking about Matthew right now is cussing us out right now.
Oh yeah.
We can bring it up, because he's the real one that would have to deal with the nuts.
Yeah, it all falls on Matthew, just like it does.
It goes downhill, and Matthew is always walking up it.
We're just gonna hope there's no lightning.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't. Because all it takes is one. I take one strike.
Yep.
And one little lightning strike, and they're like, I don't even know what the rules are. Was it 30?
10 mile,
at least 30 minutes. Yeah.
It's 30 minutes.
10-mile radius.
Oh, that BYU was brutal, CB.
So it's got to be, I think it's got to be like 30 minutes after the last lightning strike within a 10-mile radius. That's the way it used to be.
That's
yeah, and I remember the BYU, KB. I remember that very well.
Yeah.
There was one at UCF a few years back, wasn't it?
It was TCU in Fort Worth.
TCU one.
I remember TCU
in Fort Worth, and then it was
you might be right.
That was during Herman.
Yeah.
Mac Brown's last year was at BYU when in Provo when we had that long delay. 8 mile radius.
So 30 minutes. Wow. Okay, you're right, coach. It's
30 minutes. Yeah, okay. It's got to be 30 minutes. It's the last strike within 8 miles. Okay.
Sorry to bring it up, but I just think that also could be a huge factor.
Yeah.
I mean, when you get something like that happen, I don't even know what do you do during the weather delay? What do you do? Like I don't even remember being delayed. I don't think I remember having a weather delay like that.
I don't think I ever did. I just remember that recent. Like I went way back. I think CB said it in the chat. It was UCF in 07.
Okay,
that happened. I was just thinking of a Florida one that kind of aligned, in terms of that tropical kind of, you never know what's going to happen kind of thing. So
yeah, exactly. So, Coach, what is the protocol? I'm sure every coach is prepared for every damn thing. What's the protocol during the weather delay? You don't even know how much time you're going to have. That's the worst.
Yeah,
thing.
well, yeah, they'll give you a warm-up time, but you usually take off your shoulder pads and put on your sliders and just kind of chill. Take off your cleats and just kind of chill out. Coaches may have guys in a corner talking about stuff or whatever. But we were playing. I don't remember if it was Provo or Fort Worth. I kind of think it was Fort Worth, and the game was delayed so long.
I remember that.
They delivered our post-game meal because it's not like the good old days at Odessa Permian after the game when you go to a steakhouse and eat at a steakhouse after the game.
Yeah.
And get home at 2:00. No, they bring the food and they pass it out and you eat it while you're getting on a bus or when you're on the bus going to the airport. And so one of the message boards came out and said that excuse me. Sorry, that Mac Brown fed his players during the rain delay.
Oh,
we saw him delivering it, and I'm like, that was post game meal, man. And then you don't play good when you come out, and they're like, oh, that's stupid, coach. I mean, he fed them. No wonder they didn't play worth the flip. That was post game, and let me tell you, it was served cold post game.
That is great. Again, because it's already scheduled. It's scheduled because they just time out the game. They're like, hey, well, around this time, 4 hours, whatever, that's when y'all need to come. Boom, boom. And that's it. That's how long it was, though, too. That's a long weather delay right there.
Yeah. When
the food comes. Oh man, that's okay.
We had like a 15-minute halftime or something. Wasn't even that long. Like 5 minutes. It was crazy. I don't even think we went in the end. I think we just went into the end zones or something. I can't remember what it was. It was crazy though.
Did we win the game?
I don't think we did. Okay. And the reason I'm saying I don't think we did is because people were complaining because they said Mac Brown fed the team during the rain delay.
Blame it on the sandwiches. Oh man. All right. I'm sure if we got it wrong, CB and somebody in the chat will tell us. All right. Let's actually, before we go on, let's take another sponsor. Let's thank our friends over at South Point Dodge before we continue. We got a couple more questions we'll dive into, and I got some questions for the panel. But first, let's thank our friends over at South Point Dodge. You can score an easy extra point this season when you get to the point with our friends over at South Point Dodge. South Point Dodge has over 600 vehicles in stock right now, including the all-new 2025 Ram 1500. That's right. Get the real deal today. Drive away in the all-new Ram 1500, proven to last. Plus, you can get employee incentive pricing. That's right. You pay what the employees pay. You can get the real deal. You won't find a better deal than that. All right. You get the employee discount with our friends over at South Point Dodge. You can go see them off of I-35 in South Austin, or you can go online. Make it easy on yourself and go to southpointdodge.com. Whether you need a car, truck, something new, something used, trade-in, whatever you need. South Point Dodge prides themselves on being Austin's automotive everything. So check them out today at southpointdodge.com. All right, let's get back to a question here. How about this from Freshwater Cajun? On a muddy field, is it harder for a DB to cover a double move? Could this present an interesting opportunity for the long game? That's, you know what? It does. I remember playing, depends on how wet it is. The wettest game I played in, I think it was Missouri. Like maybe a sophomore year. I believe something like that. We played them. I think it was Missouri, if I'm not mistaken. And I got a pick six in that game, actually. But I do remember that they kept trying double moves. I do remember that. because I think they kept thinking exactly what you're thinking, Freshwater Cage. It's like all we need to do is take one false step, slip, like Coach said, plant with the wrong foot at the wrong angle, whoosh, and easy. He'll be just because we play a lot of man-to-man too. So I do think Texas is in a better position. They don't play as much man-to-man. You're playing man-to-man on a muddy, gross field. You could be in trouble.
Well, it's definitely an advantage to the offense.
Yes, and I think why I say Bull. I think Bull Reese backed us up, Coach. We were playing. He was like, "Nah, y'all need to back up." That's why I got the pick six because they actually ran a hitch, and then I got the pick six. And so
it's easier for the receiver, and simply because the receiver knows where he's going. He knows what he's going to do. He can have his shoulder pads over his feet when he cuts on that double move. You don't have that luxury because you're trying to break on the ball. Mm-hmm. So it's much tougher on the DB than it is the receiver, for sure. I love double moves in the mud. Absolutely love.
Double moves in the mud. See, Coach already ahead of me. I like that idea too. Freshwater Cajun. I love that idea. I do. I love it. Depending on how gross it is, and what point in the game, how bad the field is. Even if it's just a little bit slick, it still works. The little bit slick thing still works. So I like that idea. I think they should. I've always said more double moves for Texas. Because I'm a DB and I know how annoying they are and difficult they are to cover, especially when you got aggressive teams. When Texas had the most success on double moves, where they played Georgia in that SEC title game. It ran a lot of like double moves and things of that nature that would basically work. It would counter an aggressive defense because they were fast flow and everything, and they were jumping stuff because they were so well prepared. They were so well versed on Sark's offense. Man, they were jumping them screens. So what you do is what? All right, let's do stalk, block, and go, or let's do that whip route. Because they attack they're gonna every time you run in, boom, they're gonna trigger those guys. So let's run the whip on them. You run some double moves and stuff like that, and it ends up working. I want to say, didn't Matthew Golden run one in the? I want to say he ran one in the first game, actually, on a deep one, late in the second half. Remember that deep ball that he had against Georgia? Yeah, I remember that. I want to say that was a double move, if I'm not mistaken. All right.
I don't know if I trust. At this point, though, especially with the weather, like I'm not sure how much they trust Lagway to hit a guy on a double move. I'm not suggesting you shouldn't run it. Maybe the DB panics and you can get a penalty out of it. But I would expect, probably our guys to, almost encourage, the fellas, really trust your eyes. Don't bite on anything because, we will challenge him to make, to beat us, stop the run and make him beat him with his arm. But it'll be interesting to see how bad it actually is once game.
Yeah, you're right. They haven't thrown it deep a lot. We brought that up earlier. They don't throw it deep. So for Texas DBs, it would be them breaking tendency to throw it deep a lot.
Right.
Especially with the bad weather. But for Texas, I do kind of like it. Someone said in the chat, JJ QB has to have time for double moves. I would say, y'all know Arch, his 3.1 seconds, just time to throw, 3.1 seconds, is basically top 10 longest in college football. Like he holds on to the ball a long time because they throw a lot of vertical routes. And he naturally holds on to the ball to extend plays and things of that nature. And he's actually really good at it. But this is not Quinn Ewers' offense. He holds on to the ball anyway. So if you're having trouble getting to the quarterback, Arch gives you a lot of opportunity to do it because he holds on to the ball for at least 3 seconds on average.
Yeah.
But Florida has the lowest pressure rate in the Power Four. So yeah, exactly. They're the low. I'm not joking.
They're not even in the top 100.
They are the lowest pressure rate. This is not a embellishment or etc. They have the lowest pressure rate in the Power Four. That's how bad their pressure rate is. So if you're Texas, you really should have a clean pocket a lot of the times in this game. Now the weather may make all that moot. But you should have a clean. You shouldn't get. They shouldn't be forcing a lot of negative plays because they don't. As the obviously chat just brought up, they don't. That's not really the way they operate. But we shall see. The rain could change all of that. All right, let's get back to the questions here. Marcus wants to know: are we confident? Marcus in the chat wants to know: are we confident in packing what we need for this trip? What do they need for the trip, gentlemen? Well, you got to pack.
Mine's almost the same as last Thursday when we talked about what do I know about this team is the defense. I mean, you'll have to show me, them not showing up to a game for me to believe that, they're not going to play. And as much as we were just talking about, what their, stat was that you were saying, popped up there 130 in the country or whatever, in their rushing offense, like just as bad. So, I mean, if you give our defense an opportunity to, make a team pretty one-dimensional, and if you're saying that one dimension is you're asking the guy that's been struggling to chunk the ball to beat you with his arm, like I'll take that all day. So, to me, I think you put the pressure on them.
I'll tell you what, we need to make sure we're packing a Swiss Army knife. In other words, be able, like the Marines, you adapt and overcome. Whatever the challenges brings with the weather, with the wind, with whatever, have a plan. Have a plan to adapt to it. And I'm sure we do. Like I said, just another reason that I'm really glad that Trey Wisner is going to be played in this game. And I want to see a lot of James Simon too.
Actually, we should talk about who the other running back's going to be. That's a big topic of conversation because I think most of us believe CJ Baxter is probably going to be out for this game.
Right.
And who is the other running back? And Trey Wisner, I mean, maybe you're ready to just ride Trey Wisner like your workhorse running back in this game. That could happen, especially if the weather's bad. But who you gonna, when he needs a rest, which he's gonna need a rest a few times, who you bringing in there? Who's the guy? Is it Jared Gibson, who's from Gainesville?
He's deserved a chance.
Is it him or is it?
He deserved his carries.
You think it's Gibson, Coach?
I think so. I think the coaches have shown that over the first few games.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I still say we get Simon in the game and just see, just let the game flow and see who's your mutter.
Great term. Well done. His mother was a mutter. His mother was a mutter.
They used to call horses mutter, and they say that horse is such a good mutter. His mutter was a good mutter.
His mother was a mutter. His father was a mutter. His father was a mutter too. Yeah.
And you know what? There's some guys like, you remember Riggins back in the day?
Yeah.
There's some running backs. They're just mutters, man. They're just mutters. I mean, just the dirtier the better. Give them the ball. They'll swap
like that. I think Cam Scatterbo.
Yeah, that's right. He sure is.
He's a mutter. It's ugly, and that's the thing you brought. I love the mutter thing, Coach. You're right. I don't know who the mutter is on the team. That's good though. I was hanging out with two running backs. I was hanging out with Fuzzy Whitaker and my man Jeremy Hills, and they both said Jerry Gibson should be the third guy too, behind Wisner and Baxter. They like Gibson. They think he's special. I was listening to the film guy who does great work, Brooks Austin, breaking down some Texas film from Sam Houston State, and he was raving about Gibson too. Gibson is, he is special. It's just the ball security issues. He's got a fatal. He's like the dime piece with bad breath. I can't forgive some things. I don't give a damn how fine you are, and that's kind of where we are with him. Like we got to. It's the bad breath. Come on now. That's ball security. Like I got to deal with that every day. That's in my face. So I don't know. By the way, I've never dated a dime piece with bad breath. That's just my analogy for Jared Gibson. He's the dime piece with bad breath. He's got to figure it out.
I don't want us to major in this either, but I bet you we see some more of, adding Arch to the run game as well. That gets you an extra blocker out there. So I don't know if that's, maybe just a short yardage type of thing or a switch up here and there, but you're not having to worry about a handoff if it's some wet conditions out there. So I wouldn't be shocked to see a handful of carries from him.
He might be a mutter. He kind of carries his shoulder.
He does.
I think you're right.
I wish he would get down. I don't need him lowering his shoulder on these Florida, D linemen and linebackers necessarily, but I think there's ways to get him involved in the run game.
With slick balls, though, I know that sounded weird.
I was trying to but I couldn't keep that one together.
Matthew, do not clip that. I think Matthew's like trying to clip it and make
something. Man.
With wet conditions.
I haven't seen that in a while. Thankfully for me. I'm on a roll. It's been like months since I've seen one of those on me. I've been keeping it pretty good. but the night's still young.
That was definitely something Coach would say. I don't know. It just came out. I'm sorry, guys. And I still meant it, but
Oh, Jimmy, I just tuned in, dude.
I think I said it too enthusiastically.
You just tuned in to Rod sticking his foot in his mouth. That's what you did.
Man.
I said it too enthusiastically, but with wet conditions, ball security with him to me would be, I would be even more concerned about it.
Yeah,
that's something too to consider. So anyway, enough discussion about the.
Yeah, but how do you get his confidence back?
Gotta let him run.
You get beat a couple times as a DB. You want another shot to go in there and redeem yourself. That's right. I think Jarek is starting to put together a piece of work, hopefully over the last couple of games, where he deserves his carries until he proves otherwise. And then we go, I knew it. He's going to have a hard time overcoming the next one.
You're right, Coach. Jaden Blue did that. Remember, Jaden Blue had these same issues. We're like, man, Jaden Blue can't hold on to the ball. Give a damn how fast he is, how explosive he is. Got to hold on to the ball. And honestly, he was just so good. You had to roll the dice on him. He was such a game changer. You'd be an idiot to leave him on the bench. You just got to roll the dice and take your chance. But he got much better. Like Coach said, he was challenged. He admitted I talked to him. He said, no, Coach challenged me. And, they all challenged me like, do you want to play in the league? Because if you want to play in the league, you better play in this. Like, you are an NFL player. The only thing that they are looking at right now, I believe Jaden Blue is going to be available this week too. I saw that good news. But basically, that's what's holding you back right now. That's going to keep you off of somebody's draft board. Yep. Your hands and ball security. And he did a good job of cleaning it up that last year. Hopefully that's the case with Jerry Gibson too, because he's a very talented player. All right. Let's get to another question here. 214 Texas Bronco. What is the confidence in the O-line against the SEC competition? Coach?
SEC comp in practice.
That's true.
Well, this will be a good test for our offensive line. It really will. This is a good Florida defense, as you pointed out, Rod, especially on third down. So it'll be. But is it going to be skewed by the field? I mean, is it going to be like, are we going to have guys slipping off blocks? Or, I mean, of course, the defense they got the same issue. They're playing on the same field as we are.
Mm-hmm.
So I would hope that we're semi-confident, but I haven't, I've just kind of, and we talked about this last week, I've just kind of come to the realization that our offensive line, they are who they are. I don't think they're suddenly in one game going to morph into a team who couldn't blow Sam Houston off the line of scrimmage to go blowing SEC teams off the line of scrimmage. But I'll go back and say our 2009 team, when Colt and Jordan were seniors, they didn't have a huge, massive offensive line that blew people off the ball. They just stayed on their blocks, and we didn't have a blue chip big name running back that year either. No, we didn't. We for a little while we had Trey Newton and he got hurt. And then we had Big Johnson, 30, 31. What was his number?
Cody.
Yeah. We didn't have a big, powerful offensive line. We didn't have a can't miss running back that all conference, whatever. We didn't have that, but they still found a way to make it work, for everybody to play together. So you can still be successful. You don't have to have road graders every single year. And I'm to the point now, unless I see something that really changes my mind in the next few weeks, if they can really progress that much. But I'm kind of thinking maybe they are who they are. I would have loved to have seen us blow Sam Houston 5 yards off the ball, but I didn't see it.
Sure. Yep. Stevie also expressed concern about the O-line, and I know y'all watch the trenches more than I do, and I respect y'all's opinion on it. And I've watched them. They are, because it's crazy. Last season when Texas had a veteran O-line, they also didn't have a bully ball O-line that they weren't able to push through. They were a finesse O-line. And this O-line looks like it's also going to be more of a finesse O-line. And I think they want to be a more physical. Sark has already said it. We want to be more physical. They're running more gap power schemes, trying to run more downhill schemes. The injuries at running back ain't helping them because CJ Baxter is kind of the engine that, kind of powers their downhill running scheme. But they're using more quarterback run game. A lot of those are power concepts too for the quarterback run game for Texas. So They want to be a more physical running team, and they're running more 12 personnel, by the way. 12 personnel is up. I think Texas is up like 38%. 12 personnel. They ran 60 plus 12 personnel versus Sam Houston State. Does that continue, especially in a game with inclement weather? Why wouldn't you run more 12 personnel? Get some bigger bodies in there, more gaps, more guys up front. You can win the physicality battle. They may try to do that too. So
it's kind of like when Coach was talking about offensive players knowing where they're going too. It'll be good to have Trey back, and if he can spot some of those cutbacks, that's something where he knows where he's going. He's paying attention to his footing, and those defense flow in one particular way are going to have a harder time, switching back the other direction. So it'll be good to see, him back, having someone there that's patient, seen it before, and able to press the hole and pick and choose his spots.
All right, let's thank another sponsor of ours before we continue here. I thank our friends at Bingham's Bourbon. We appreciate Bingham's Bourbon, and we appreciate Ryan Bingham, friend of Owen Texas football, and also creator, not only Oscar-winning artist and creator and Grammy-winning artist as well, but he also now makes a damn good bourbon. For years, Ryan turned down offers to just put his name on any bottle. No, he insisted that he wanted a bourbon he could be proud of, one that stayed true to his Texas roots and where the music comes from. That's why he built Bingham's from the ground up. It's a Texas certified whiskey made with 100% Texas grown grains, distilled and aged in the searing Texas climate for a bold, unmistakable flavor. From the hands of local Texas farmers to the barrel to the glass, every drop is a tribute to the land, the craft, and the people who shape it. Bingham's Bourbon, proof that good bourbon, available now across the great state of Texas, and you can find details at binghamspirits.com. That's binghamspirits.com. All right. How about Christopher says, how about 3 tight ends with Townsend as an H-back? Get them all in there. They have ran that 14 personnel package. It was 14 personnel where they had the tight ends in there. It was goal line, kind of just their new version of heavy. And they do put Nick Townsend. They have had him in the backfield. I think he's going to be their cowboy back. Remember they brought in, what's the coach? McIndoe? Is that his name? Remember the former Oklahoma State coach that came up with the Cowboys?
Oh, I know who you mean. Yeah.
I think that's his name. But he is the one that created the hybrid position for Oak State at the time, which was a fullback and a tight end. Called him the Cowboy back. To me, that's Nick Townsend. He is. He's the Cowboy back for Texas in a nutshell. All right, let's hit some more questions, and then we'll I want to ask you guys about this ESPN article that came out about it ranked all the quarterbacks in the Power 4. I want to get you guys' thoughts about that before we get out here and where they ranked Arch Manning 4 games into the season. But how about this question from Marco? Given that Florida has a strong defense, any predictions on tendencies that Sark may break? That is a good question. I was talking to Jerry about this. And somebody else brought this up, and I don't know if we had it. I saw it in the chat a while ago, so I apologize if I don't give you credit. But somebody brought the Wildcat. And I was I haven't seen the Wildcat in a while. Sark he really liked it early on. He ran it with Rojo, and was that Savion Red had it for a while. He ran it, and Sark kind of liked it. There you go, Salty Q. Thank you, Salty Q. Wildcat would be, honestly, bad weather. That ain't bad at all. That's kind of nice in some bad weather. Another tendency breaker, and we can see it. This is actually something we brought up, and Jeff and I did football theory on it. 12 personnel. Like something's happening with 12 personnel with Sark. 12 personnel is up right now, but that's 60 plus percent 12 personnel usage versus Sam Houston State. This has me wondering, could it be out of circumstance because you've had so many injuries at running back and wide receiver, like Noah Mosley, DeAndre Moore. But DeAndre Moore was back, and you still ran, that much 12 personnel. Could it just be training wheels for Arch that 12 personnel is up for Texas, making things easier for him? Or is it something where now, and Sark has done this before, when you're very talented and deep at a position, like you were at running back when he first got here with Rojo and Bijan, you ran a lot of 21 personnel. All right. And now that they left, you don't run as much 21 personnel when you're not as deep. like last year in this past season with the injuries at running back, you haven't run as much 21 personnel because you're not as deep there, which I get, even though it's really, really efficient and effective for you. Same thing when you had a surplus of really good O linemen, you were running 6 O line packages, Big 11, Big 12 packages with an extra offensive lineman on the field. But you had a surplus of damn good offensive linemen, especially from that 2022 class of O linemen, in addition to having the veterans that you kept coming back for the last 2 or 3 years before this year. And now you have a surplus of tight ends, really good ones. Probably the deepest tight end position that you had, what? And I don't know. What's the last time Texas had tight end position this deep and talented?
Oh, it's been, I mean, I don't know if we can name a time where it's like this, right? Like I've been around 2 deep pretty well. And then maybe your third was typically more of a true blocking, kind of guy, but not as many guys as versatile as what we're seeing right now. I also wonder if it's not necessarily a tendency breaker, but more so reverting to more of what we're used to with respect to some of the pre-snap motion. If we, begin to see a bit more of that, even using some of those bigger personnel packages, right? Because all of those guys can do a little bit of the same thing. They can move, but to your point, Townsend can block really well. So you could get, some of those other guys out, on a route. So it'll be interesting to see how they move them around, but I don't know if we've ever seen them be that deep, to this point.
I think it kind of depends on the field conditions.
Yeah.
But I buy into the thought that Sark has been holding back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think it's obvious. I mean, you don't hold back a quarterback for 4 games that has already started and played. I can understand being somewhat simplistic against Ohio State, but I think Sark has been keeping a lot of stuff in his hip pocket. And if the field conditions will allow it, I think we start seeing him pulling some stuff out to break some tendencies and kind of get his offensive philosophy back in the game, because he loves the motion, throw to motion, misdirection, all that stuff. And we just haven't seen much of that.
I agree with Coach on him holding back. Now, can you break out? Can you go deep into the bag when the weather may limit, the effectiveness of a lot of different concepts? That's the only thing I wonder about, whether Sark is going to get deep. But I am now fully on board with the conspiracy theory on the grassy knoll with every Longhorn fan who says Sark has been holding back. And if he hasn't been holding back, we're going to be very upset if it looks exactly the same. But I do. I think he's been holding back a little something. All right. A couple of more questions here before we get to the end of things. Jason says Texas cannot commit stupid penalties or turn the ball over. If they do that, the defense is good enough to win most games. The leadership on this team needs to step up and hold the line accountable. Yeah, I want to say if you look at the penalties that Texas has had so far, and they are one of the most penalized teams in the country. But if you go look at the
we've been averaging 8 penalties a game. We had 9 last week.
Yes, sir. Yep, I believe that is the case. And I want to say out of your 20, I would say 21 of your 30, maybe 34 penalties have been on offense. Yes, 20. You had 34 penalties this season so far, and 21 of them have come on offense. So, yeah. That on the road, it's going to be a loud crowd. There will be a lot of distractions, potentially with the weather or stuff like that. You got to have a more disciplined team. You can't be your own worst enemy in a situation like this. So I
wonder what this crowd's going to do, especially if it's going to be bad weather, raining, windy. Like,
ooh,
we're not the team we thought we were going to be this year. I think I'm going to watch it at home.
Start to pack it in, huh?
But it's Texas, though. Some people like to just come see us. Arch Manning, Texas.
That's true.
They want to come see the show. But, yeah, it is Napier's last stand. I don't know how many. I think the fans definitely want him gone. So they may decide, like you said, Coach, to say, "Nah, we're not coming out to support that, especially with bad weather." I can see that. There you go. The penalties, Texas 126th in the country, and outside the top 100 easily. In penalty yards and penalties per game. It's a problem for Texas. All right. Super chat here from Lane. says, how important is it to take the points this game? I would take the points in this situation. Honestly, with Texas now, the identity of what we've seen through 4 games, I think you should take the points. I think you're a defensive-led team. I think your special teams is going to help you win games with hidden yardage, and also help you get some explosive plays and field position on special teams. Those 2 phases, if you're offense, I would get all the points I can because Florida's having trouble scoring anyway. So don't make it easy on them. Take the points because they're having trouble moving the ball and scoring points. So every game is different. And I heard you talking about this, coach, about winning ugly. Sark don't like to win ugly because he wants to be pretty and his offense is pretty and aesthetically pleasing, and we get all that. But sometimes you got to win ugly, UGLY, and taking points and field goals, that's considered ugly. And I think Sark's got to understand they got to do that in this game.
And but it gets back to the weather, right? You were talking about 30-mile-an-hour winds, so at that point you got to be in pretty close to be able to take the points, right? So it could get, truly ugly from a standpoint of, like, if you're playing a lot of, field position and trying to use the punter, hopefully it's good enough to where he can pin it in a spot that, it's not just getting stuck up there when he kicks the ball. So the weather will really end up playing a heavy factor in all of this. But yeah, I agree. You definitely got to take the points if they're there and it makes sense to take them.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Actually, it's a good point about the weather. The gusts are 30-some miles per hour. Everything's difficult, especially field goals and stuff like the kicking game. All right, let's thank our last sponsor of tonight's program, our friends at IP Vanish. We appreciate them. Let's talk about IP Vanish for a second, folks. Nothing kills game day like a blackout or blocked live stream. IP Vanish VPN keeps your connection private so you can bypass restrictions and watch securely even on public Wi-Fi. And there's more. With IP Vanish Advanced, you also get a secure browser that blocks trackers, malware, and viruses, plus 1 terabyte of cloud storage to back up all of your files. That means your streaming stays private, your browsing is protected, and your files are always safe. And right now, On Texas Football listeners can save 83%, all right, just a little over $2 a month for all-in-one protection from our friends at IP Vanish. Go to ipvanish.com. That's ipvanish.com/On Texas Football. That's ipvanish.com/On Texas Football, or follow the link in the description of this episode. Thank you very much to our friends over at IP Vanish, and take advantage of that very special offer from them as well. All right. Thank you to all you guys out there for the super chats. One last thing before we get out of here, guys. I want to have a little quarterback conversation because I saw ESPN, and Matthew, if you could pull up the article for us, or at least pull up Arch's ranking. ESPN ranked all the Power 4 quarterbacks. I think all of them, and they ranked Arch Manning in this ranking at 41st in this quarterback ranking. I ask you guys, and thank you, Matthew, is the quarterback ranking for Arch Manning at 41 as the 41st best quarterback in all of the Power 4? Is it fair? Is he too low, too high? By the way, they have DJ Lagway at 61, just so you know, for perspective. He's at 61, and there are 68 quarterbacks here ranked in the Power 4. Too low, too high, 41. Just right.
I have myself muted. I feel like we're doing something more than that.
Hey, that means that happens to everybody.
Yeah, what caught my eye, Rod, and I don't know if Matthew can go down a little bit more, but like he was pretty close to Jackson Arnold, which out of the two, like I felt like there would have been much more separation, but I thought Jackson Arnold, he was only like 2 away from Jackson Arnold. So I don't know. For me, that maybe feels like he's a little low, but I think again, it's based on the comparison to what the expectations for him were. Whether any of us actually had that expectation or not, he was the Heisman favorite, heading into the season, which was crazy to begin with. But, I think it's another extreme overreaction. He probably could be bumped up a handful more spots. But, yeah, to be 2 away from Jackson Arnold. To me, if I were Arch, I would take that as a bit of a slight because that cat, man, if we've ever talked about pocket presence, it's like he's just out there with his eyes closed half the time. So, but at the end of the day, this stuff is all for clicks, right? And for folks like us to talk about it. He'll push his way up if he goes out there and performs like I think most of us know that he can perform. And I'm not sure if this weekend is maybe the best, conditions for that to necessarily change drastically. But, the second he goes out there and has a couple big games against what the powers that be deem, a viable opponent, all of a sudden he's back inside the top 20. So it's all fickle to begin with. So I don't know if it's too high, too low. I remember scrolling through it when you had sent it to us, and I was like, dang, he's real close to Jackson Arnold. That's kind of odd to me. So,
hey, I mean, yeah, it's and DJ Lagway at 61 out of 68. Not surprising because he's not been playing the quarterback position very well. But Arch hasn't played consistently well,
right,
versus high-level opponents, and this will be one, obviously, at Florida. Coach, question for you as we approach the end of our live stream from Eric. Is it better to establish the run early or get Arch comfortable with throws in order to get the offense up and running versus Florida? Does it all depend on what the weather presents?
Yeah, it does depend on the weather, but I like getting the run established early. I don't want to I don't want second, third, and 10s. I would try to establish the run early. Although, as we know, this is a good Florida defense. Their defense. We talk about their offense. Don't get that confused with their defense now.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. But I think I'm all about, like every coach, I guess, high percentage passes, starting games. Give your quarterback a little bit of confidence, let him have a little success. But we've got to get that running game going early for sure. And you know what? I got a feeling we will. I have a feeling if Trey's back, I have a feeling we're gonna have a good game rushing. Going back to that Arch statistic, I could care less about that stuff. It's irrelevant to me. Kind of like Marcus was saying, it doesn't mean squat, But the fact that he played San Jose State, UTEP, and Sam Houston, and that's where he is, that's a reality slap in the face, really. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean anything. It just kind of means he hasn't been playing well. But it's not like he's been playing against SEC opponents either, other than Ohio State being an SEC type opponent.
Yeah, you're done with the cupcakes now. And one of them cupcakes, UTEP put it on you. One of them cupcakes, UTEP came out in that 3 high and put it on you a little bit. And then against Ohio State, you played poor for 3.5 quarters. But then that last half of the fourth quarter, man, that was the Arch everybody been hoping to see. You see more of that guy, so he can do it because he did it for 8 minutes versus maybe even less than that. But versus Ohio State, we saw it in flashes. We just haven't seen it consistently, and nobody really cares about San Jose State and Sam Houston State except for Longhorn fans. We care about it. Actually, they don't care.
I'm going to just pitch my tent on the grassy knoll, right? I'm going to say some of it has to be just he knows there's more in the offense that they just haven't been running, and it made him uncomfortable. That's my
yeah, because they've been practicing stuff that you ain't calling in the game, and that's caused a little, friction, if you will, or that they can't. Obviously, it's affected the synchronicity, I would say, between the two. So I agree. I'm on the grassy knoll with you too. I'm on there. All right, but thank you guys. Oh, here's the last one from Marco. I said, how about a new show called A Ship Down Memory Lane where Coach says his lifetime stories? Matter of fact, we'll make it a segment on the show. I like it.
We don't have enough time for that.
All right. Thank you guys for all the super chats. Thank you guys for all the questions. And thank you as well to all of our sponsors. Thank you to SouthPointDodge.com. Thank you to Bingham's Bourbon as well. Thank you to our friends at IP Vanish and VonLane.com. Use that code OTF25 to save $20 off your first ride with Von Lane. If we missed any of your questions or comments, please direct them to the gentleman at Coffee and Football bright and early tomorrow morning. Jerry and Bobby will be presenting Coffee and Football at 8:15, and then we'll have our Friday live stream will be at 3. Life and Times of the Game Fight.
That's a good book title.
Well done, old school joke.
Yeah, a life and times of Foot in Your Mouth Shipley. Yeah.
But yeah, so 3 p.m. live stream tomorrow as well. So thank you, Coach. Appreciate all the levity and the wisdom. Thank you, Marcus. All of your expertise and knowledge, man. Very much appreciated. Thank you to Matthew behind the scenes. He is the real MVP. And thanks to each and every one of you for watching and for listening. Really appreciate you guys taking the time. For Marcus and for Coach and for Matthew, I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Until next time, hook 'em horns.
Welcome.
Life can